Good evening. Once again, it is the 17th of January 2018, and this is News Tonight. I'm Patricia Lokoma.
And I am Edward Rukidi Kijanangoma.
And of course, on sign language, we'll be later on joined by Jonan Opore to take you through the details of the bulletin. But first, let's get into the details. President Yoweri Museveni has said that the United Nations is responsible for preserving terrorism in the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo.
Now, he was yesterday meeting a UN Special Investigations team led by Dmitry Titov into the circumstances under which the recent killing of Tanzanian soldiers serving under MONUSCO in Congo took place. Mr. Dmitry Titov was until recently the United Nations Assistant Secretary General for the Rule of Law and Security Institutions in the Department of Peacekeeping Operations. He was accompanied, among others, by the UN Resident Coordinator, Mr. Rosa Malango.
At least 14 United Nations peacekeepers were killed in the restive Democratic Republic of Congo last December, in which what was described as the deadliest attack in the organization's recent history. The peacekeepers, who were from the neighboring Tanzania, were killed in North Kivu province. 40 others were wounded, including several critically, according to the reports.
Now, DR Congo's huge eastern region has long been racked by violence, but fighting between government soldiers and militia groups, as well as inter-ethnic clashes, has increased significantly.
President Museveni informed the UN team that Uganda is currently host to 500,000 Congolese refugees on top of 1 million others from South Sudan. He informed the visiting UN team that Uganda was assisted by Tanzania during the struggle to remove Idi Amin from power, adding that during the second part of the protracted people's struggle, Uganda requested Tanzania to empower us in clearing the challenge at hand between 1981 and 1986.
President Museveni said that if the local groups in Congo and Somalia cannot work with the population to get their countries, the friendly forces should come in with enough manpower to clean up the affected areas. He noted that if neighboring DR Congo had enough numbers, they would have succeeded in solving the problem. The president observed that DR Congo has a combination of conventional, irregular, and terrorist groups on its territory. He further informed the visitors that terrorists kill non-combatants who are soft targets.
Mr. Dmitry Titov commended President Museveni for contributing towards the peace process in Somalia. He said that the UN looked forward to Uganda's assisting them in finding the answers into the killing of the Tanzanian peacekeepers in eastern DRC recently. He observed that the terrorist Allied Democratic Forces, ADF, is a common enemy, adding that MONUSCO has got the task of eliminating ADF rebels.
Meanwhile, President Yoweri Museveni has said that unless solar becomes a cheaper alternative source of clean energy, Africa and Uganda in particular will have to use nuclear energy to improve the well-being of its people.
Uganda has already trained 15 nuclear experts headed by Ms. Sarah Namfuna in the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development.
Now, the president was this afternoon meeting the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, Yukiya Amano, at State House in Entebbe. The two leaders held high-level consultations on activities related to the IAEA Technical Cooperation Program in Uganda ahead of the official commissioning of the Cobalt-60 cancer machine at the Cancer Institute in Mulago. The meeting was also attended by Shaukat Abdul Razak, the Director, TCAF Division for Africa in the Department of Technical Cooperation, Uganda's Minister of State for Energy, Engineer Djang Simon, the Minister of Health, Dr. Ruth Acheng, among others.
The president said even if the cost of solar energy goes down to 4 cents or even lower in some parts of Africa because of the cloud cover, they may not be able to use solar unless the batteries improve for storage.
The Director General, Yukia Amano, said as IAEA, they are doing a lot in making nuclear energy for peaceful use and is already supporting Uganda in implementing projects that use nuclear for peaceful purposes for the well-being of the people.
Amano said they can also using drones to monitor water levels for pollution for health reasons. He said it is no longer the energy for only developed countries. Despite it requiring a lot of preparations, it is important that the transfer of technology from IAEA to other countries increases on the welfare of the people.
Now, the Minister of State for Energy, Simon Dijanga, said the current country program framework between Uganda and the International Atomic Energy Agency includes feasibility studies for nuclear power projects, uranium exploration and evaluation, cancer management, food and agriculture, water resources management, and strengthening the national nuclear and radiation safety infrastructure. He said they are also in the process of updating and upgrading the nuclear law to include nuclear power in accordance to acceptable international standards.
Well, that's it with nuclear power. Now moving on into other stories in Makerere University. Makerere University Wednesday graduated another group of students from 4 colleges.
Now, this marks the second phase of the 4-day ceremony that will close on Friday, with President Yoweri Museveni expected to be the chief guest.
The university dons urged the graduates to be job creators rather than job seekers. We have the details.
These jubilating graduates are part of the 14,000 students graduating at Makerere University's 4-day ceremony. A procession by the university's professors from the main building to the venue at Freedom Square made the day colorful. Students that graduated Wednesday were from the colleges of Business and Management Sciences, Computing and Information Sciences, College of Health Sciences, Veterinary Medicine, Animal Resources, and Biosecurity. The graduating scientists have decried the alleged use of chemicals by the butchermen in the country to preserve meat.
I would like to say strongly to the people dealing with the food industry is that there are clear guidelines on how to preserve meat products. Depending on the shelf life, if the animal has been slaughtered today, that meat can last for 12 to 14 hours without needing any preservative. If you want to keep it longer, think about conventional methods of conserving, like putting in a refrigerator.
They, however, ruled out the possibilities of using formalin in preserving the meat.
What I can say is that, one, formalin should be ruled out of the picture. Formalin is a substance that we usually use to fix organisms or tissues, all organs. So if meat is preserved using formalin, it will change all the properties and it cannot be eaten. It will be hard, it will be fixed, and everyone will be able to tell that that meat has been contaminated with formalin.
It is wrong and false to say that they are using formalin to preserve meat, because in the first case, if you use the formalin, definitely the smell.
Makerere University's Chancellor Ezra Suruma urged the graduates to be job creators rather than job seekers. The university's Vice Chancellor Barnabas Nawangwe appealed to government to expedite the university's infrastructural development.
Also, 3 other things, but they were not funded, and I call upon the government to support Makerere in funding these centers of excellence. Infrastructure development remains a major area of concern for our university.
Thursday marks the 3rd phase of the graduation with the Makerere University Business School moves students they want to graduate. The ceremony ends on Friday with President Museveni and Winnie Mandela expected to attend. Philip Aguta reporting.
Once upon a time when you once graduated.
Oh yes, everybody
Okay,
feels so good when they graduate.
Moving on to Parliament, the Inspector General of Police, General Kale Kayihura, says police has done much in curbing the crime rates, citing a drop in the crime rates of 2017 compared to the previous years. Kayihura, together with officials from the Ministry of Internal Affairs, were appearing before the Parliamentary Committee of Defence and Internal Affairs.
Now, the police boss, however, noted that Security Minister Lieutenant General Henry Tumukunde has on many occasions interfered with their police work, citing the release of Kifesi criminal gang leader Paddy Serunjoji alias Obi. Now, Sobi, a self-proclaimed murderer, was arrested by police early this week, but according to Kayihura, the gang leader and his co-accused were released on bond following orders from other security organizations.
The committee will continue interfacing with officials from the Ministry of Internal Affairs made up of police, prisons and immigration departments. Kija, it's from that very story that will pick our topic for the guest corner.
Oh yes, later on in this program, but still let's remain in Parliament a little bit more. And Parliament, of course, Tuesday held the briefest sitting lasting only 4 minutes, with less than 20 legislators officially signed in.
Deputy Speaker of Parliament Jacob Alanya says it was aimed at allowing Finance Minister to lay a certificate of gender equity and compliance.
Now, the certificate was presented by State Minister for Finance David Bahati on behalf of government, while Angeline Osege lay on behalf of the opposition.
The House was later adjourned to 30th January 2018.
Given the importance of the matter at hand, I found at the time of the presentation, the certificate of gender and equity responsiveness was not available as provided for in the Public Finance Management Act 2015. This sitting had been called for the said omission to be corrected. I therefore request that the Secretarial Committee should continue processing business related to the budget framework paper as earlier directed, and no interruption whatsoever should be entertained. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues, I beg to lay a certificate of gender and equity compliance as made under Section 96 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015.
Thank you. Let the records capture that.
I beg today to table the opposition response to the National Budget Framework Paper, financial year 2018, 2019, to 2022, 2023. I beg to wait.
Let the records capture that and send to the committees so that adjourn to the 30th committee.
From Parliament, let's now shift gears to matters pertaining to land conflict in the country, where the Commission of Inquiry into Land Matters has unearthed illegalities registered by the State Minister for Water and Environment, Ronald Chibule, in the acquisition of Block 369, Plot 3 of Chigaya Golomolo in Buikwe District.
Now, according to the Commission, an interim order had been set by Kibule for residents to vacate the land in question by 20th January this very year.
And as we hear in the following report, Kibule considered not doing enough due diligence in acquiring the said 85 acres of land.
The Commission of Inquiry.
Telling the Commission how he did not do sufficient due diligence, the State Minister for Water and Environment, Ronald Chibule, was asked the way forward after knowing that he had fraudulently acquired the 85 acres of land. Justice Catherine Makerere, however, wondered how a private house is being used as a police torture house.
I mean, we can almost boast that we are a country that has the rule of law. We can't boast of that. But we can't boast of it if we have the same police that's supposed to be protecting people actually terrorizing them. And Honorable Chibule, if you haven't taken interest and if it has not bothered you, please get bothered right now.
According to the Commission, the Minister expressed ignorance regarding the ownership of land in question.
So I don't know much on the implications whether this return could affect the ownership of this title, my lord.
You are expressing ignorance, Mr. Minister.
Mr. Chibule further told the commission that he went ahead to buy the land after doing a search in the Ministry of Lands.
This was not among the written claim. And as I said, when I took the search, encumbrances had a name.
The commission also wondered why the cost of land was cheaper than that of the Chibanja.
Not to know the Bibanja owners in that piece of land.
Justice Catherine Makerere tasked the minister to shed more light on the rumors that he intends to displace the residents of Goromoro by the 20th of this month.
Are you concerned that it is said that people cannot sleep in their houses, that people are struck with terror, and that most of it is associated with you having acquired that land? You have systematically pushed away people to the extent that organs of government such as the police are said to work for you.
20th, there is no
magic about 20th.
And no one should even worry.
The only thing that
and I even don't know the source.
The commission ordered the minister to meet residents of Goromoro by the end of this month, though residents still fear for their lives. The need for a fallback situation was also identified as key.
What
is new and what haven't we seen? Ministers, what? They come and go.
Justice Catherine Makerere asked both parties to maintain peace as the commission does its work. The commission adjourned to Thursday. Sudat Kaye, UBC.
News Tonight will now take a short break, but we'll return with our guest, and that is in the guest corner, and we'll be looking at Parliament today having the least number of legislators sitting there, and also the Inspector General of Police, General Kale Kaihura, appearing there. My colleague Patricia Lukoma will be interviewing one of our own here. Stay tuned.
Welcome to our guest corner, and of course this is still News Tonight, and I'm Patricia Lukoma, and of course on set I'm joined by Oluka Jamila, one of our senior reporters that handles the Parliament. And of course the whole of this week we've been having security issues, and I'm glad that they're now tabled within Parliament. Jamila is here to give us the details, to give us a detail of a roundup of what's happening in Parliament. But first we want to talk about the security issues with the country, especially deriving from the Masakabu Komansimbi issue. Give us a detail on how Parliament is handling this.
Apparently, there are so many issues happening around the country. The insecurities, not only in Masaka, some are in Kampala and Tebe. You know, from last year towards the end, there had been a lot of insecurities in the country. So Parliament was concerned, and they're like, what should we do? So they invited the IGP, they summoned him, the Defense Committee, to tell them exactly what is happening. Is the police doing their job? Is it that, you know, because police has the community policing services, is the community helping the police? So those are the issues that they're trying to battle right now. And the IGP has been there from last week and this week.
And what's the feedback from the police?
The feedback from the police is the police are trying to do their job. Okay. It's just that they have more things to do to make sure that they will achieve that.
Okay, and do we have a lasting solution to some of these incidences that have happened within the country since last year?
Somehow, the way I see it, from the way the committee has been handling that issue, the IGP, Kale Kaihura, is trying all he can, because, you know, security does not only entail that the police is supposed to do everything. Even as the community has a stand to do with the issue of insecurity. Sometimes you find that in the community harbors these criminals. True. They do not tell the police. So that's one of the challenges the police is actually facing right now. And also there are some incidences in the police, some loopholes that some of the police engage in some of these activities with criminals. So that is what the police is trying to wipe out right now.
So exactly what you're trying to say is that when it comes to security, it's not just the police, but we as individuals, as citizens of Uganda, should as well take part and try to notify the authorities when something is very weird. And so we want to look at some of the things that have been happening in Parliament. The budget is at the center of the committee, and of course the certificate of gender and equity has been tabled. Last week on Thursday we did have that in our guest corner. So can you give us a little bit more of that?
Apparently right now, because the budget is going to be coming like around June, so usually by the time the budget comes to the public, it goes through a process. So what is happening right now, the committees are meeting, the different ministries, government institutions to come up with their budgets. However, even if the budget is going to be read like around June, there is a process, as I told you. So one of the process that is happening right now is the Parliament tabled a certificate of gender and equity compliance, whereby a budget cannot be passed to the plenary without having the certificate. So that is one of the things, because when you look at Uganda, there's a lot of corruption happening. So they're trying to make everything clear this time around. So that is one of the things which is happening around Parliament. Also, the other thing is because the parliamentary week is coming in from 21st on Sunday up to Thursday, so they're going to be having a break. So they are adjourned until 30th of this month.
So you're talking about Parliament adjourning to 30th January 2018.
Yes.
And of course, considering the fact that there's a parliamentary week, what does the parliamentary week entail? Oh,
parliamentary week is actually a very interesting that I would like the public to take an opportunity to attend. So the parliamentary week has a number of activities that are going to be running from 21st to Thursday, 25th. Like on Sunday, there will be a on Sunday, there will be a fundraising drive for helping the albino community to build a rehabilitation center.
Interesting.
Last year it happened that they had the same thing. What happened is they raised 35 million, but according to the budget that is there for the rehabilitation center, it's supposed to be 5 billion.
Okay.
So raising 5 billion cannot be raised within a year. So it's going to be a subsequent.
It's a process.
Yeah, it's a process. So that is one of the activities that is going to be there on Sunday.
From the
and
21st
the public is invited actually to come there. It will start around 7:30 to about 8:30. And of course, the Honorable, Kadaga will be the one who will flag off the fundraising drive. However, there are other activities that will be there, like the tree planting. When you look at the way our climate is changing, there's a lot of global change everywhere. So one of the issues that Parliament is looking at is to try to raise awareness of planting trees.
Okay.
And they're going to be having also a fundraising drive where they will have to fundraise to buy trees which they will be planting all over the country. And one of the places that they're going to be planting trees will be Moroto. When you look at the geographical location, Moroto is one of the places which has very limited green pastures. So that is one of the places. And also another thing that Parliament will be doing is they also have a Thanksgiving. There will be prayers held on Tuesday. And these prayers will be in all various religions, not only like Catholics or everything. Also, another thing that is going to be happening is there's actually a very good opportunity for the public that I would like you to take. It's very good for you to take an advantage to go there and get involved in parliamentary activities. One of them is the public meeting their MPs. So the public is supposed to be meeting their members of parliament, and they'll be asking any questions they want, and the parliamentarians will be there to respond. That activity will start on Tuesday, and it will run up to Thursday.
True.
Also, there are other activities. One of the activities again is there will also be there are quite a number of activities.
True.
And one of them again will be the civil society. The civil society is going to be holding a debate, and the theme of the debate will be the voice of the people, a reflection of the 10th Parliament. And then the public will also have the public parliament, where the selected members of parliament, the selected member of the public will sit down and they will have a debate.
And sit in for the rest of the public.
And one of the themes is for the public parliament is budget allocation and its impact on the standard of living of Ugandans. I think what Parliament is trying to do, they're trying to make sure that they involve the public more in the parliamentary activities.
Parliamentary affairs.
Yeah, parliamentary affairs, because most times.
And do you think that probably that could change the chaos that has been happening within Parliament?
Yes, I do believe.
Because the more you involve the citizens, then that's democracy.
Exactly. You know why? Because when you go to Parliament, people have these tendencies. I don't think they are that informed that Parliament is for us. Parliament is for the people. It is for the interest of the people.
True.
So when you look at Parliament, sometimes you can, I can imagine the people who have passed through Parliament along the route, but they have never entered there, thinking that they do not have access
the
to
right
go there,
to enter
So,
into
but
Parliament.
as long as you have your identification, be it your the registration card, and then your passport, you are entitled to go to the to Parliament, and you can go there and meet your MP, join the MPs when they are debating. All that is permitted as long as you have an identification for security purposes. However, on that day also, I would encourage the public, if you really want to come to Parliament, which I encourage you, you come with your identification, and everyone is allowed as long as you're a Ugandan.
Okay, true. Then that's it from us here in our guest corner, unless otherwise you have something that you need to emphasize to the public there. But she's given us the details of the happenings or the parliamentary week that will start on 21st, this very January to 25th. We're going to go for a very short break, but of course it's Oluka Jamila, our senior reporter that handles parliamentary sessions, has been with us. Let's take a very short break and we'll be right back.
Welcome back from that short break, and of course from our guest corner, where my colleague Patricia Lukoma has been interacting with Oluka Jamila, and they've been telling you about what happens in Parliament, and of course the upcoming parliamentary week, where you as a viewer, and of course as a Ugandan, you are free to go there and ask your parliamentary representative whatever you need to know about Parliament and what he or she has actually done for you so far. But let's move on now with our news, and we go to the courthouse, where former National Social Security Fund Managing Director David Chandi Jamwa has filed a notice of appeal at the Supreme Court to challenge his 12-year jail term. Jamwa filed the notice of appeal through his lawyer David Mpanga. Now, in the notice of appeal, Jamwa contends that he is dissatisfied with his conviction and sentence by Justices Ruby Opio Aweri and Kenneth Kakuru, who re-evaluated the evidence from the Anti-Corruption Court. On Monday, the justices ruled that the evidence on record was sufficient enough to prove that he acted arbitrarily when he authorized the sale of several NSSF bonds to the Crane Bank, now in receivership, before their maturity dates. Now, they observed that retired Judge John Bosco Katutsi properly evaluated the evidence on record and reached a right conclusion in convicting and sentencing him. The justices also imposed a 4-year jail term on Jamwa for abuse of office, but they said it will run concurrently with a 12-year jail term. In 2011, Jamwa was sentenced to 12 years in jail by Justice Katutsi after he was found guilty of the offences, promoting him to appeal against it at the Court of Appeal.
Well, moving on to KCC, Heirloom Street in downtown Kampala is to be transformed to an international standards through creating more vehicle lanes with an aim of giving space to pedestrians and cyclists. Kampala Capital City Authority Head of Transport in the Engineering Department, Jacob Byamukama, told reporters that 23 billion Ugandan shillings project government of Uganda is a project government of Uganda. The plan is to free Namirembe Road from traffic. We do have details.
Tukulaga nti ekubo wamakubo gaffe ffenna maaso oluguudo balugadde tuba tetujja kukola okuva ku makya tetunafuna wadde customer.
Part of Loom Street in downtown Kampala was closed Wednesday as KCCA, in partnership with UN Habitat, launched the Habitat Week. The street was abuzz with activities including zebra crossing painting, signs of demarcation of pedestrians, space, and displaying physical plans for a Road 1 project to start soon on Loom Street.
Ugandans know this street on a normal day when it's traffic congested and a lot of cars are parked on the streets. But today and up to Friday, we have removed the cars from the space and have given the space back to the people.
The head of transport in the Department of Engineering at KCCA, Jacob Biamkama, says this new urban plan will involve diversions with Namirembe Road freed from traffic, making the road safe for pedestrians and cyclists. They are to start with relocating utilities like electricity poles and drainage works. Work is to be done by Sterling Contractors Limited to a tune of 23 billion Ugandan shillings.
Make it safe for pedestrians and cyclists. We are going to prioritize some links and downgrade others. So for people who will be using vehicles, they will find that the old ring road or the road from the port to the one to Mwanga are going to be the main roads for vehicles. And vehicles will move smoothly. So we'll have less of the confusion that is there now. The only thing that will be happening is that you will not be able to go through. If you have a short section of the road in the middle, you will not be able to just drive through. So in other words, not be available for through traffic. Manage of the road, so we look at the pipes under the road, make sure that we start diverting some utilities. That is the first activity that will take place.
A lecturer of urban planning at Makerere University, Amanda Ngabidano, says freeing streets from cars attracts more businesses, and this plan aims at creating a conducive business environment in a less congested city.
This place-making week is supposed to create awareness in the minds of the people, the motorists, the business owners, that you don't have to always have the cars in that street. You can have the cars at a certain time of the day, but not throughout the day. Because research has it that places or streets that have a lot of cars in the network don't attract businesses. Yet that there will be bicycle lanes, because a bicycle is also a mode of transport which is supposed to be planned for. It doesn't pollute the air, it is good for people's health, it's good for the environment.
However, this activity has paralyzed business on this street, with many expressing mixed feelings about the plan.
Yeah, but quite done in a very wrong place. Because if you look at some other cities, like around East Africa, then this is not the way how they are doing their stuff. Kampala, first of all, Kampala is a very tiny place with so many people, very, very tiny. To have such a venture. Some people who are selling titles, they have to do what? To offload them and unload. They need bulk spaces. They need to be spaced up.
I'm Nafka Farida and Mike Bakablindi reporting.
Mixed reactions there, of course, from that gentleman. They are ending that report, but of course also another positive move for Kampala Capital City Authority and of course UN Habitat. Let's move on now, and of course it was a bad day for tenants in different arcades in Kampala who have demonstrated over what they term abnormal increment of ground rent by their landlords. Now, Namaganda Plaza and City House in Kampala Central are the most affected, with tenants saying rent has been increased by 95% and 10% respectively, and have also been given a week's notice to vacate, or else they face the consequences. Farida Nafuka reports.
Those are tenants of City House building carrying placards expressing disappointment with their landlords for erratic increment of rent fees. They argue that after increasing rent by 10%, their landlord, Sudil Lupeleria, has now closed their shops. They allege that when the dollar is high, he charges them in dollars, something they say needs to be addressed.
Ekisimba kyo tebakisimula kiriko bakulaaga. Tuyita mu musulo bwe tugenda amaduuka gaffe ne tukola ki? Ne tukola. Tumugamba alongoosa ekizimba akoze eki? Egaanyi. Tumugamba tusasula rent yataddeko 10%. Nze manyi osasula oba agamba 10% rent fee nti nendaba nga ndiwa kusasula ennaku z'omwezi nga 3 omwezi guweddeko nina osasula rent fee tolina kunzigalirawo. Neve twebuuza lwaki tusasula rent fee oyo wa 10% ate atugaliddewo.
Emitwalo 98 kuba kwezi tubadde era kati bwe kiba nga kigaanye kino kye tuliko olunaku olwaleero ndowooza nga tuyigirira ku bizimbe bye kirabika kyayagala essaawa eno bwe tulinze bw'aba azze nga twogera naye bw'aba agaanye tetulina option endala.
Osasula rent ne batemako 10% rate payment. Sente bazibala omwezi tegunaggwako bakutemanga February yoli mu 10%. Ekisinza okugazaawo twagala 10% agijjewo tube nga tusasula normal rent.
Police was on standby to prevent any violence by tenants. The officer in charge, Nakasero Police Station, Ibembe Brian, says the situation was under control.
So this time we are still waiting for the management of the building to come and talk to these people about what is happening now. But so far the situation is still normal. We are still waiting for the management.
At Namaganda Plaza, tenants have also demonstrated by closing their shops. They were expressing their frustration with their landlord, referred to as Yanga, for refusing to reduce ground rent, which they say has been increased by 95%.
Omulanga gwange eri Mr. Yanga tuli bakozi era tukola bino ebizimba bizimbira ffe abasajja abanaku haa muntu asobola kujja n'apangisa ano bw'aba ayagala agulawo buguzi naye bino ebizimbe babizimbira ffe abanaku tujje kukola eki naffe tubeeko nekyetulyawo naye toyinza kwongera munno 95% ku sente z'abadde asasula ajjawo mmeka tugeze nsasula kakadde kamu lwaki ngamba nti omwezi ogujja within 2 weeks nti nina okusasula $1,995,000 why ebyo bigasa ki Yanga atule ne banne ngamba gagga banne nga balaba bagagga banne bakola ebintu naye abeeko nekyakola ki nekyatutaasa bino ebizimba bizimbira ffe basajja abanaku
je otumira wabweru nga sekanze gye buyola weewaddeyo noonya akasente odde munda ate bakugalya mu budde obutali butuufu kati ffe tudde mu ggwanga ki oba batugamba ensi yaffe Uganda tugigeemu tunoonye mu nsi bwemwe tubatudda tudde batwagaza kubba
batwagala mbesi byaffe waddemba okwongezanga bw'ayagala naye ng'akuwadde akadde akamala kyokola nga tuyinza nakasuka jinja ku kizimbe kye kubanga kiki tetuyinza kuwona kintu kyonna kubanga ebintu bibye naye kyetwagala atuweyo akadde akamala
bwe tuyinza kuwa komplenti yaffe taliiwo tewali muntu yejjayo nti nze nkola ki wafisi gye baateekawo tiimu ziri eyo oteekayo butesi ssente n'akapapula nti ruumu bweti ntaddeyo ssente teri muntu gwe tuyinza kompleni.
Some of the shops were closed by the landlords and had a notice warning owners that their shops would not be opened until rent is paid. Closing of shops not only affects businesses for those who operate in those buildings, but also food and drink vendors around. Namaganda Plaza tenants' rent was last increased in September 2017.
Biseera bya fees tumekwatazwa season eno yona eyawedde era season naafu
yatawanya abantu bayongeza ababadde kakadde simanyi batadde kakadde kamutwala ababadde kukadde kubi abatadde kubusa simanyi nkaaga renti yetutawanya nenga ngafe abatunda mu maduuka netugamba katwekalakasi batusa.
I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Gwitabenji.
Well, thank you so much, Namfuka Farida there and Gloria. And of course, that's the chaos, or rather we can call it a disagreement between tenants and commercial building owners or landlords. And basically, we hope that they can find a lasting solution. They can come to an agreement. Either they disagree to agree, or rather, because this is going to put a halt onto the business community, especially on Namaganda building.
Definitely, it should be a win-win situation because the landlord also need that money and the tenants also need to make money. that is the situation there.
Well, right now we're going to go for a very short break, but of course when we return, Kija is going to be returning with sports. I hope you have so much detail for us in business.
Of course, oh yes, business. We do have a lot in as far as business is concerned. Of course, looking at the cashless economy, that is one initiative that Ugandan bankers are actually going to be engaging themselves in. Stay with us. Welcome back from that short break, and this is News Tonight on UBCTV. Let's talk business now. And lack of proper infrastructure, systems, merger, and legal challenges are negatively affecting financial sector deepening in Uganda. Now, according to Renita Nabisusi from the Financial Sector Deepening Uganda, with more than 70 Ugandans population unbanked, harmonization of systems and sensitization of the public on the importance of financial inclusion is critical. Now, this was at the Next Generation Financial Services in Uganda, Lessons from India workshop that was held here in Kampala. Dennis Sigoa reports.
It is an aspiration for the different stakeholders in the financial sector of Uganda's economy to go seamless, paperless and cashless in order for financial services to be easily accessible to all. By benchmarking with India, Uganda expects to digitize its financial systems in the near future. India, one of the fastest growing economies in the world, has gone a step further in adopting and promoting the India Stack Aadhaar system that enables its citizens to access financial services with ease by use of the fingerprint. Anand Raman is from the consultative group to assist the poor, which is a global partnership that seeks to advance financial inclusion.
What we are saying is that three key things. One is that institutions are very important, partnerships are very important, and sometimes people and policy continuity. Those are some of the things that worked for India in terms of bringing all of these things together.
Financial sector deepening is possible in Uganda. However, there are legal impediments, ICT infrastructure challenges, and poor systems coordination, says Renita Nabisubi from FSDU.
But one of the key challenges that we've identified as FSDU is really that lack of coordination and lack of awareness of what other services are being put out there. So I think people need to know. For example, today we had somebody representing the National ID Authority, and we got a good idea of the services that they want to be able to put out there. So
we lack a very robust data protection and privacy regulatory regime. The data protection and privacy bill is still before Parliament, and it has not yet been enacted into law.
The National Identification Regulatory Authority confirms that it is in advanced stages of collecting and digitalizing the national database.
And it's not true that we are not sharing the information. The information is already being shared, not though electronically. It's being shared. For example, we've recently done the SIM card registration.
This is expected to go a long way in easing access to financial services, in addition to curbing potential risks. Reporting for UBC Business, Wadulo Mark Arnold and Dennis Sigoa.
To the cotton sector now, where sub-Saharan textiles of Turkey have ventured into Uganda's cotton growing sector. Now, the new development is expected to entice more farmers to grow cotton, hence positioning Uganda as one of the continent's sourcing hub for textile and garment products. Now, over the years, cotton has become an important factor for Turkish companies, and the country itself is one of the 10 leading cotton producing countries and the 4th largest consumer in the world.
The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives and Sub-Saharan Textile Investment of Turkey gives a new lease of life to Uganda's ailing cotton industry.
Thank you. It is my hope that the improvement on cotton marketing will be accompanied with a full package of services to the farmers that include enterprise development, reactivation of the value chain, capacity building, new innovations and technological advancement, and research.
Once one of Uganda's key cash crops, cotton production slumped following a collapse in world prices in the early 1980s. Gume Frederick, the State Minister for Cooperatives, gives an insight into cotton growing in Uganda.
But what brought problems is majorly the collapse of the cooperatives. That was one thing. So people are disintegrated. The middlemen exploited that opportunity, especially after liberalization. Okay. The economy was made free, people penetrated, reached the farmers, and started giving them raw deals.
Yes.
3, the cotton farmers also accessed what we call as financial challenges in the gestation period between planting cotton and harvesting.
Yeah. Sub-Saharan textile of Turkey will immediately venture into cotton growing, and this has been made possible through the collaboration with the Cotton Cooperative Union.
SSA Investments is a business platform to make investments in textile manufacturing, agribusiness, and in healthcare solely to selected East African countries where opportunities should have strong development potential and export-led growth taken as modus operandi.
Her Excellency Sedef Yavuzalip, the ambassador of Turkey to Uganda, lauded the initiative and underscored the need for streamlining of systems in order to facilitate the smooth implementation of the cotton growing project.
According to the stipulations of the MOU, we should deliver, we should start to implement our responsibilities. The Turkish government will be very pleased to see the Ugandan government extend all the necessary facilities and make its financial contributions to help the project move forward smoothly.
The partnership that Uganda is entering with SSA means that in addition to value addition, it will also be able to assist in seedling multiplication and also investing in value addition. Dennis Igoa and Mark Wadulo for UBC News.
Thanks, Dennis and Mark, for that report. And of course, we do hope that the cotton industry will definitely improve after the Turkish investors having taken interest in it. And finally, let's go globe-tic. And global technological advancements have crept into Uganda, with many companies embracing methods that target non-cash transactions using cards for day-to-day commodities. Now, the latest to join the queue with launch of the business-to-customer cards to ease payments is Total Uganda. We have a detailed report.
As Uganda gears towards Vision 2040, many sectors are bracing themselves for the time when all around will be bliss. Though seemingly not so pronounced, and in fact, an ordinary mind may think it's not necessary, but a truth be told, embracing of non-cash transactions is trendy and the way to go.
The new card is safe, it's simple, and it's a smart way of managing one's expenses, which is critical to our customer. It will go a long way to make our products and services available, but also seamless and convenient to our customers.
This has been reiterated by the Managing Director of Total Uganda, Florine de Lopino, during the launch of the Total Business to Customers card that aims at easing payments.
We try to create something that could be as compelling for individuals, for private motorists. So the new card keep on giving you access to quality fuels, to Total Excellium, the fuel that cleans your engine kilometer after kilometer.
The card comes with exciting and instant bonuses plus discounts.
Someone once told me, trust is good, but control is better. Someone else told me, if you want to change something, you have to do something about it. If you don't do anything, things will stay the way they are.
It has been launched under the theme, Take Control, Get More. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Welcome back. Time to look at what's happening in sports. After being readmitted as a World Tennis Federation member, Uganda has been reassured of hosting African competitions as well as traversing the continent through different tennis circuits. First is the success of Uganda Tennis League. Lugogo Tennis Court will host the Kampala Premier Tennis League final playoffs on the 20th of January this very year. 4 teams, that is Team Kinetic, Trailblazers and PTC Warriors, will face off for the coveted trophy. Each team played 42 games in 4 months league to have the best clubs compete in the finals.
The right time. We have been readmitted to ITF, which is the International Tennis Federation, and it's going to boost a lot of activities because under the International Tennis Federation, we shall be able to participate in so many events. Back in the days when we were still under ITF, we used to host very big tournaments like the Futures, Davis Cup, and we used to be part of it. So it brings joy to some of us who have been around tennis for very long to see that we can develop more talent because they have programs plus the UTA. They have programs.
Now, moving on into the new Desert Challenge, the 4th draw of the Dubai Desert Challenge has been conducted Tuesday under the umbrella of Enoch Oil. 4 winners from the general public driving category and 1 from the taxi driver section earned themselves a fully paid trip to Dubai to participate in the Desert Challenge, while the other 4 got city oil hampers and fuel worth 100,000 Ugandan shillings. Anne Katona, Rogers Kirekezi, Abdallah Tibamwenda, and Daniel Ifutinda, among others, are some of the lucky winners who are going to experience and compete in the Desert Challenge, as well as a tour of Dubai, having serviced their cars at different branches of City Oil. Director of Emirates National Oil Company's Sheikh Mohammed Sadiq gave his remarks to the winners.
Two, I mean, it's not one winning. One winning is to go to Dubai, and this is an honor for us to welcome our colleagues from Uganda to come and see what is there in Dubai. But also, the winning is when we are having people who started to.
And of course, that was Mohammed Sheikh Sadiq giving his remarks to winners. Moving on to the Chan tournament. Uganda Cranes team featuring at the Chan tournament in Morocco has had its last training session ahead of crucial must-win game against Malawi. Cranes lost their first Group B game to Zambia, who play Ivory Coast. We have details in this report.
Nigeria to a goalless draw. It is the same scenario that happened in Group B, which features Uganda. In that group, Ivory Coast was beaten by Malawi. Uganda now has only one task ahead: win the next game against Malawi or board the next plane back home. Head coach Sebastian Desabre is aware of the task ahead and is expected to make numerous changes.
We have a balance on the team. I think we looked at during the first half. We stay with the same mind, the same spirit to win this next game. And after we haven't choice. We must win with an offensive plan, because it's my philosophy also. But it's very important to score in first, because my team I need to.
Well, that's it from us here. And of course, we just need to remind our dear viewer there that Parliament has been adjourned until 30th January. But of course, from 21st to 25th is going to be the parliamentary week. And we really urge all citizens to go to Parliament and participate. And of course, all they need is an identification ID.
Oh yes, you need to go know what your MP has been doing and what they haven't been doing, because there's a lot actually that is happening.
And we call that
I'm Edward
democracy.
Rukidi Kijanangoma.
And I'm Patricia Lokoma. For both of us and the team in the back office, we say good night.
Good night.